And clearly, there's no doubt in my mind, cryptocurrency is going to replace traditional finance, TradFi, and it's happening so fast. I mean, cryptocurrency is literally outpacing, the growth of the internet, in the 90s, Charles. And I've never been so clear about something. I've never been able to see something so clearly in my life, and it's been a lot of fun to be a part of this.
The big news is that crypto blockchain technology is taking over everything from our banks to the stock market and even tokenizing real world assets. And Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong even coming out and saying, I've never been more bullish about clear rules for crypto. He points out banks want to ban your rewards to maintain their own monopoly, and we're making sure that the Senate knows that bailing out big banks at the expense of the American consumer is not okay. Cementing this further is SEC Chair Atkins calling for a turning point in American financial history, saying far too long the SEC and CFTC have operated in parallel lanes, too often in conflict. Today, we are charting a new course, and we saw that meeting take place, and we're expecting great things to come out of it. But does this mean that the crypto bull run, the altcoin season bull run, is still on? And historical data would suggest that we are still trending in that direction. Altcoins search volume has increased tenfold in the last 7 days on Google Trends. But if you look at this 5-year trend, you'll see where every one of these spikes and dips lines up with a pump and dip in the crypto markets. And I'm going to show you guys in a couple minutes here when we jump into the technicals some more interesting charts and how they line up. We have had a big week in crypto, in finance, in the economy as a whole, and this week is far from over. Tomorrow starts October 1st. We may see a government shutdown. There is obviously measures in place to try and avoid that, and we will be looking for the ISM manufacturing data. On October 2nd, we'll be looking for the initial and continuous jobless claims data. October 3rd, U.S. unemployment data will come out, and we are already expecting a 50 basis point cut according to BlackRock. That is what they are projecting for October. And then there's the elephant in the room: Ripple, XRP, and Swift. They had a huge announcement at Swift about a new blockchain that they're going to be using, Consensus, with smart contracts and atomic settlements of tokenized value. And we're going to dive into this. Should we be concerned as XRP holders? Are we about to see the biggest rug pull in history with XRP? No. But you got to stick around for more to find out what this is all about. As always, welcome back to the channel. I am JR, your favorite crypto dad, and you guys know what to do. Give me a comment 777 down below if you're feeling bullish, you're feeling blessed, and you're about to live your best life. Smash that like button, hit subscribe to affirm it, and let's jump into it.
Today, I'm very pleased to announce that we will add a blockchain-based ledger to our technology infrastructure to allow for trusted movement of tokenized value across the digital ecosystem.
There is a lot of fear, anxiety, and worry with Ripple XRP holders right now. With this Swift move, did they just abandon Ripple's technology? And no, they didn't do that, and I'm going to show you evidence of that in just a moment here. But we do need to ask ourselves the hard, real, honest questions. Are we over-leveraged? Are we overexposed? Are we under-diversified in our portfolio? And I think that that's a question you all have already addressed, right? If you haven't, stick around for a little bit more information on how you can get better educated on that. I'll share with you a little bit later on. But let's calm some of the fears and the worries with the real data, the real truth. What's going on with this? Linnea, which is part of Consensus, poses no threat to XRP and the XRPL. ISO 222 deadline nears as Swift moves forward on the global standardization. And this is going to be Professor Ripple effect on X. I encourage you guys to read this whole thread, but as you can see, it is massively long, and I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to point out the too long did not read, which is that Consensus Linnea does not compete with XRP or the XRP ledger. Linnea is designed to scale Ethereum applications. Consensus 2025A, 2025B, whereas XRP, XRPL are built for cross-border settlement and liquidity. That is Ripple Labs. Furthermore, SWIFT already adopted ISO 20022 with the mandatory deadline for banks and financial institutions to transition by 22nd of November 2025. That is coming up just around the corner. Guys, if this bull run, this altcoin season plays out, the end of November will be the absolute peak for all of that hype and that hopium. We saw that in 2021 cycle as we moved into 2022 and things finally started to take off. But further reducing these worries, we see that Ripple is still being actively integrated into SWIFT. EastNet's payment safe platform connects Ripple's blockchain technology with SWIFT in the traditional financial systems. Ripple partner Thunes partners with SWIFT to connect 11,000 banks. Thunes' only payment provider is Ripple. And while SWIFT and top global banks are working on this blockchain overhaul, there's 34 financial institutions globally that are assisting in this development of this shared digital ledger. 25 of them are connected directly or indirectly with Ripple, as you can see highlighted on this list here. Okay, great, but what does that do for XRP's token price? Why is it pulling back so much? Is it just people selling the fear? And I truly believe that there are absolutely sell the fear, sell the rumors events taking place right now. You know, yesterday started kind of the kickoff in the bull market, September 30th, historically speaking. And some people are just like, you know what? I can't wait around any longer. I need some money right now. And that's why you don't invest your grocery money into anything for that matter, right? But coming out of Altcoin Pro University, the SEC pulled the delay notices for Solana and XRP ETFs. If this isn't bullish for crypto, I don't know what is. This is the US SEC officially withdrawing all delay notices for pending spot ETF filings tied to Solana, XRP, Cardano, Litecoin, HBAR, and others. And with these changes, approvals could move forward much faster. Obviously, this is a big move for crypto, and we could see approvals as fast as tomorrow, October 1st. So as we see this pullback today, at least at the time of the recording of this video, to me, it is nothing more than institutional profit taking or hedging further confirmed, at least in my opinion. And again, this is not financial advice, simply informational, educational, some entertainment purposes only. But by seeing the decentralized finance protocols having retreated dramatically over the last 24 hours. And by dramatically, I mean anywhere from 5% to 25% decreases in the last 24 to 48 hours. We see that with Avi, we see that with Plasma, we see that with Aster. And while all of these are starting to flash a bounce, many areas in crypto, other sectors have already started to make some gains and move their way up. Speaking of historical trends, who recognizes this chart? Yeah, we're going to have a lot of Shiba Inu fans coming back to the channel for this one just to check this one out. Guys, this is Shiba Inu in the month of September of 2021. This chart is exactly the way it marched out right up until it rounded out here leading up to September 30th, where it broke out for the entire month of October, running up over 1,100%. This pattern is not only replicated over the bear cycle for SHIB that we've just come out of, but if you zoom in even further, it's replicated just in the month of September alone, again, for Shiba Inu. Does that mean that SHIB is going to experience a resurgence? Well, many people might say that the project is completely dead. Search volume is pretty low on Google Trends, while I will admit it is ticking up. My point about this whole Google Trends thing, and we'll bring this one back, is this coincides with every dip and every peak in the crypto market. And if you look at where these dips and these peaks take place, we can go back here and see in the spring pump of 2021, we had a major peak, and this is just for the search term altcoins. Again, we come into the August, September, a little bit of resurgence and a little bit of a dip before we blow off into October and November. I did the same thing for end of 2024 cycle, but the 2025 in the spring, or I guess late spring, early summer, saw this big pump, and then we've got this subsequent dip. But the peaks are way higher. So there is still some encouragement that we could see an even bigger bull run than we saw in 2021. I think that the pool is a lot more spread out, right? When it comes to altcoins and meme coins and gaming coins and things like that. I like to say that 2017, 2018 crypto bull run was like fishing for a whale in a 55-gallon drum in your backyard, right? You didn't have to go too far from home and you didn't have to work that hard. 2021, 2022 cycle was like fishing for a whale, but in a pond, like the size of an acre. You still had to walk outside and throw a line out there, but the whale was there and you very likely were going to catch it. And 2025, 2026 cycle, I think that whale is absolutely still here. I think that we're fishing in a little bit bigger lake now. We're probably in Lake Michigan, maybe bigger waters than that, maybe the whole Great Lakes. What it means is that there's just so many more buckets, right? You got to get a little bit better equipment. You got to get a little bit better education and better technical analysis, understanding when you're doing this, but the whale is still there. I think moving forward, we're going to be a level playing field, though, in the next 4 or 5 years for the next cycle in crypto. And fishing for that whale will be like fishing in the ocean or all of the oceans. And it's going to come down to who's got the most money, who's got the most equipment, who's got the most crews that can get those boats and those lines out there in the water. But it doesn't mean that you're left without a shot, right? You are still here. And as we look at the technicals for today, again, not financial advice, it's simply informational, educational, some entertainment purposes only. We're going to look at Bitcoin, we're going to look at Ethereum, we're going to look at XRP, and we're going to look at a couple other indicators and just get a feel for where things are going, because there are a lot of anxieties. And at the end of the day, I want you guys to be calm about this. We don't want to make emotional decisions when we're making investment decisions. As simple as that, right? And again, it's not financial advice. This is the psychological, educational component of it. For the technical component of that, that's where you get to that link down below to Altcoin Pro University and sign up there. There's a 2-week free trial. You can blaze through the majority of these classes in just your free trial alone and get technical analysis essentials and altcoin research methodologies and find that next Shiba Inu before it breaks out and so much more. But let's jump into the technicals and see where we're at. Bitcoin has made its run back up in the last 48 hours. It regained over the 110,000, over 112,500. It retouched 114,000 on yesterday's candle, putting us up at 114,486 for the high. However, it has retraced a little bit, as to be expected. You know, lines don't go up forever. And we're down at about 113.3 at the time of this recording. We have, however, bounced off of an area of support, which is that 112,500. That's good. That's a bullish indicator. Further confirming our suspicions, we can jump down to the RSI and see that we've been trending in upward motion and crossing over the RSI moving average as we did yesterday. That's bullish. That's a bullish divergence. Should we continue to make headway today and chop sideways, I suspect that the RSI will maintain a steady growth to the upside. The stochastic, on the other hand, made a big run up yesterday coming out of the oversold territory. That was a good move. And it is starting to level off, but it is still in our safe zone, right? We're still in our chop zone. So that's where we're at on Bitcoin. What does it mean? It means that right now we're going to chop, but we're not falling through support. That's a good place to be. Ethereum, on the other hand, Ethereum is sitting at $4,100 at the time of this recording. Again, these are my technicals, not yours. So I'll show you this green zone that I've had up on my technicals. We broke out of it just barely yesterday, and we met resistance, and we came back down inside of it. I'm fine if we chop between 4,150 and 4,000 for weeks. I don't care. That's a good place. There's a lot of accumulation happening, and there's also a lot of projects on Ethereum at the same time that start to wake up. There's old meme coins. If you're watching this video, you're likely somebody who's been around crypto for at least the last 2 to 5 years, I would say. You've got a bag. You might even have a bag of Shiba Inu, and that's why you're watching this video, because you bought at the top of the last cycle and you forgot all about it and you heard that crypto's waking up again. Not a bad thing. In general, you're coming back and you're looking at your bag and you're finding either your break-even points or hopefully your profit-taking points and setting some targets. And so on Ethereum, chopping sideways, that's not necessarily a bad place to be. Again, the pond is a lot bigger, so we have things like Solana and Sui and other projects out there that are taking liquidity away from things like ETH and Binance. Binance is probably doing all right on its own simply because of that Aster launch. We'll talk about that in a second. But Sol, at the time of this video, pulling back just a little bit, but still over 200 at 205. Again, it's following the same pattern as ETH, though. All right, so what happened with these DeFi protocols that are out there with them all pulling back? And we see things like Aster. Aster had pulled back and let's go ahead and break this one down. This is on daily candles, so let me expand this just briefly here. Let's go to the 4-hour here, get a little bit better picture of what happened on here. Well, we broke out of a descending narrowing wedge. The problem is that we broke to the downside. We rounded over our top. You guys can kind of see this round over top here indicates that we could be breaking down. However, we are currently at a place where we have bounced, we have reversed. If we continue this pattern, it could indicate that we are reversing, that this is bullish. We need to engulf the previous candle. We have 3 red 4-hour candles in a row. It does not look like we're going to engulf that candle. We could break down further to the low side, which would put us down at the low support level, about $1.31. Do I expect to see us go all the way down there? I hope not. I'm not saying I expect it to see it go all the way down there, but we have rounded over the top, and technically speaking, you've got to march out what could happen from a drop on this breakout of this symmetrical triangle. Descending narrowing wedge. And if we do break out to the downside, if we were to run all the way down the bear flag pole, if you want to call it that, it does put us right at that zone, about $1.30, $1.32, somewhere in there. So proceed with caution, right? Take your measures. If this is a dollar cost average project for you, well, then you already know where you're at and you know where you stand, and I'm not going to speak on this any further. If this is something that you're looking to get out of, you guys got to make your own decisions on that. I personally am still bullish on Aster. I'm bullish on anything that CZ is bullish on, for the simple fact that that man can move mountains when it comes to crypto. Moving on to the rest of the stuff that I keep an eye on, gaming project sector, I look at Sandbox, obviously the OG memes. I'm going to be looking at SHIB, which we just already talked about, and Dogecoin. I'm going to jump back over to the daily candles here, although both of those are consolidating, moving sideways. Excited to see that. And let's shrink this down, get back over into daily candles here. Very nice consolidation, upward trending support on, here is Doge, for instance. Let's go ahead and throw that line up there. Upward trending support, very happy to see that. Bullish indicators all around. New emerging meme coins, things like GigaChad. GigaChad has dropped down just a small amount, not terrible, in the last 3-4% in the last 24 hours on that one. And it's got a long way to go to retrace to its all-time high. Should it retrace to its all-time high, man, geez Louise, where is this? All the way up to 800%. Yeah, that's a nice retrace. Not saying it's going to happen. It's one of those things that I like to keep an eye on. Typically something that hasn't been around for that long has the opportunity to do that, to make new highs and to continue marching forward. You all came here for XRP, so let's jump into it. XRP, obviously retracing a small amount, translates to about 3 or 4% in the last 24 hours here. And just a quick measuring stick on that from yesterday's high down to where it's currently at, 3% exactly on that one. So not a bad place to be. The line doesn't go up forever. There was obviously bullish momentum moving into yesterday, and that was capitalized on by anybody taking profits. We are still holding support. We are still in a very bullish W pattern that's formed here. We have the opportunity to continue to move to the upside. We're going to meet resistance once we get back up to about $3 on that. But as long as we don't do too much damage and drop below the 274 mark, we should be all right as far as XRP is concerned. What are we looking for, though, when we move forward on XRP? That's going to guarantee bullish momentum on this. Well, quite honestly, just looking at the technicals alone, right now, we look like we're going to start chopping sideways just a little bit. The RSI is starting to tick down a little bit, but we're also towards the lower end of the RSI, which means that we're more oversold and not overbought, right? So that's bullish in and of itself. But then you couple that with the fact that we have massive ETF exposure looking to come out throughout the entire month. We know that we have a lot of XRP ETFs towards the end of a month up for approval, but all of these have been pulled with the new guidelines and the new ability for rapid approval of ETFs. So starting tomorrow, October 1st, we could see a completely different landscape. Government shutdown could have an impact on that, if that has any impact on approvals. If not, I mean, I think the SEC and the CFTC both said that they're looking to plan to keep operations moving forward, business as usual, as much as possible. And so with that, if you throw a couple ETF approvals in there, you could see some wicked inflows. That is really encouraging. And then that brings us to the bigger question, which is, where does all of this anxiety and all this worry come from? And a lot of times it just comes from the simple fact that the average American right now is not sitting on a lot of savings, probably sitting on a little bit more consumer credit, as that is at an all-time high as well. There are job loss worries that are being talked about at the dinner table. There are inflation actualities and realities that are hitting us in our pocketbook, hitting us in the grocery checkout line. If you're a crypto dad like myself, I mean, we have 6 kids, and I don't even know how we do it. Quite honestly, I don't know how we do it. We've got a lot of chickens, let's put it that way, and we grow a lot of food. But at the end of the day, these worries and these anxieties are here. So what do you do to hedge yourself properly? What do you do to put yourself into passive income vehicles for the bear markets, or to avoid a lot of the cyclical swings? Maybe you don't have time to sit in front of a computer and day trade all day. Well, the first thing you got to do is get educated, and that's where Altcoin Pro University comes in down at the bottom. But the second thing you might be looking at doing is diversification further and getting more crypto exposure and out of this stock market driven 401ks, mutual fund driven 401ks or IRAs that you're in with your job. Maybe you're looking for more crypto exposure into a crypto IRA, because let's be quite honest about this. The S&P at an all-time high, Dow Jones at all-time high. These lines are not going to continue to go up forever. So where does that diversification come from? It comes from exposure to other vehicles. And that's why you need to watch this right now.
Do you love crypto, but are you worried about taxes shrinking your retirement nest egg? Here's the deal. Trading and selling crypto can trigger capital gains taxes, eating into your wealth. A crypto IRA fixes that. Per IRS publication 590B, traditional IRA gains like those from crypto aren't taxed until distributed. That's why we've partnered with iTrust Capital, a leading crypto IRA company in the USA, to sponsor today's video. And they offer institutional grade custody for retail clients that want to set up their crypto IRAs for retirement, leveraging top storage solutions like Fidelity, Wells Fargo, and Coinbase Prime to keep your assets secure. To get started, simply click the link in the description of this video, sign up for free, and fund your account with cash. They also offer 401k rollovers or crypto transfers, and you can trade 24/7 with just 1% transaction fees and no maintenance costs. As always, I'm not a CPA or financial advisor, so consult one for tax advice, and we do earn a commission if you sign up using our link below to fund your crypto IRA account, but that helps support value-based videos like this. And iTrust Capital already has over 200,000 crypto IRA accounts and over $14 billion in transactions, proving they're trusted by smart investors just like you. So click the link below, get started now by funding your account today, and let's create generational wealth together.
I'm going to encourage you to jump into the link down below to start your free trial for Altcoin Pro University. This is where you're going to get bar none some of the best education that's in the industry, and obviously it's a 14-day free trial, so it's going to allow you to blaze through a lot of these classes on your own and really get your feet wet and get a good feel for it. But this is Altcoin Pro University, where you're going to have a community built into it. Obviously, you've seen some of the news that I've shared with you earlier in this video, but you're also going to see market updates. You're going to see altcoin picks, DeFi yield picks, airdrop picks, etc. And then obviously the classroom, as I just showed you. So if you got questions about technical analysis, crypto, tax, mastery, a lot of people have made a lot of money in crypto and don't know what to do with it, how to deal with the tax implications of that. And that is all at that link below. It's Altcoin Pro University, free trial, but it's $97 a month to throw an expert in your pocket to be able to bring you guys this content. But that is what I've got for you guys in this video. As always, if you gain some value from this, please share it with somebody else so that they can learn as well. Also, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Be blessed.